What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside Interference with me, the RRBG. Today, I'm being joined by wrestling powerhouse who will be showing up to Philadelphia to kick some ass at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, April 4th. Please welcome Royce Isaacs. Royce, how are you?
What's up, baby? It's good to be back, man. Thanks for having me on.
Damn, brother. Of course. I'm glad you're still doing good. I'm glad you're bald now. I feel
Yeah, man.
like there's a connection there now. Now you're like one
Yeah,
of my favorite
absolutely.
wrestlers. From the shaving, now you skipped like 10 spots on my list.
Yeah, it's crazy how we have a psychic connection. We can read each other's thoughts now just from
Well,
the
that's
hair
what
was getting in the way.
it gets in the way, man. It gets in the way. But dude, I'm glad to see you. You look well. How are you feeling? We're a week away.
I'm good, man. I've been training really hard for this. Basically running like a fight camp style training for this because I knew
Good.
what a big opportunity it was. You know, when you do something like that, you're going to have some aches and pains here and there, but that comes with the territory. That's what you're used to, and I think it's one of those things where the harder you work and the more you kind of condition yourself through that, you can push through that kind of pain and endure. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for Suzuki. Let's go. Bring it on.
I liked your promo. If I die, I die. That's powerful words, man.
Well, I just thought, people who know me, who really been rocking with me, they know. Okay, you wrestled Suzuki before. You had this big match in Denver, and the people that I saw commenting, like the just average, I guess, wrestling fan online, isn't maybe as familiar with my career, or maybe they know me a little bit. They've seen a little here and there. Everyone, oh, Suzuki's gonna kill you. Oh, hey, Suzuki's gonna kill you. Hey, man, Suzuki's gonna kill you. And it's like I kept hearing this fucking chirping from these dumbasses, like, oh, he's gonna kill you. And it's like, yeah, I know who he is. Like, I know who he is better than you know who he is. I used to watch him way back in the day before I ever watched his professional wrestling. I watched his pancrase fights. I'm very aware of what that man can do, and I've experienced it firsthand before. So it's just like, instead of me trying to get into a back and forth with these numbskulls and you know try to argue with people who you if you argue with every dumb person online, you'll have a really long day that's unfruitful. It's like, okay, I guess I just thought I would lean into it, and it's like, yeah, Suzuki is going to kill me. Guess what? It's a good day to die. And that doesn't change the work or the preparation I have to do, and that doesn't change my goals. And I think obviously my goal here, my ideal thing is to shock the world and not only not die, but win the match. That's what I'm there for. I'm not just there to be there. I'm not there to get posterized or dunked on. I'm there to win the match. And so, if I die, I die. But I'm gonna go out on my shield, and I'm gonna make my best effort of it. And the plan is to come home with the W.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. I mean, so when was this match with where was this match? Was it a New Japan match with Suzuki? The one that you had?
I had a tag match against Suzuki and Lance Archer with me and Tom back in 2021 in Texas, and then I had a one-on-one in Denver at Lucha Libre and Laughs in October of 2022. So I've been in there with him twice, once singles, once doubles. That said, I do think this will be a very different experience because, as you know, Bloodsport is a fully different kind of experience than just an average pro wrestling match. And to me, that makes it even bigger, especially Mania weekend. I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on that show. So I knew, okay, this is a huge opportunity. And it's, I'm fighting, Batman in the Batcave, so to speak, when you're fighting Minoru Suzuki at Bloodsport. But,
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that when the lights are on, when you have the biggest challenge, I rise to that occasion. So to me, that just made me even more excited versus like, oh no, like I got to worry about this, got to worry about that. It's like, yeah, of course I do. But that's why I work hard. That's why I prepare.
That's why you're walking into the Batcave, dude. Fuck yeah. That's how you
Indeed.
do it. That's how you do
Indeed.
it. In my opinion, that's how it should be done. I wanted to, talk about Bloodsport and what is it about Bloodsport that is so compelling to not just me, but yourself to want to compete there. Cause like you said, it's very different. No ropes and knockout or submission only. You can't really go out of the ring too much, from what I understand, right? They get you back inside. There's no
Yep.
count out. So,
I think you can get counted out, but no one has been so far. Probably the closest person to getting counted out was Suzuki because he came out with a chair against Josh or something crazy like that.
yeah.
But they do basically they try to usher you back in, they try to hurry you back in. So no one's been counted out yet so far.
Okay. Well, what is it that makes why is that so appealing to you? Because this isn't your first Bloodsport either. You've been there before. You were there last time with John Hennigan or Johnny Bloodsport. Yep.
Johnny Bloodsport, Johnny
Yeah.
TV, Johnny gimmick name, yes sir.
Johnny Gimmick Man. Friends call him Nitro. No, what is it about that? Like, because it sounds challenging to anybody that's just a regular pro wrestling fan. So when I explain it to them, I'm like, it's a combination, like, shoot wrestling. It's catch as catch can, and as hard as it can go, the hardest hitting event that you can watch. And some people are just like, yeah, but it's not, there's no ropes. That's weird. I want to see there's a lot of people that love the high flying shit. But
Sure.
what is it, do you think, for you that brings it in as such an appealing thing for you?
I do think there's a time and place for everything. And if you love high flyers and you love, crazy flips off the ropes, hey, more power to you. But I think there is a, I don't know if I would say like minority, or there is a niche of fans that love technical mat wrestling. They love that catch as catch can style. They love gritty suplex throws. And I think if that's what you're into, and I think there is a fan base for that, and I think it's a growing fan base for that, then absolutely Bloodsport is a place for you. If you want that big fight feel, that kind of like, oh shit, something is about to go down type of feeling, it's really hard to match that anywhere else except for Bloodsport. If you like UWFI, if you like old school Pancrase, this is the place for you. And you see some athletic displays that, while it may not be as flashy as a high flying luchador, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take their credit away. They're great at what they do.
Oh yeah.
It's just different. It's just different, and the athletic displays you'll see will be just as impressive if you really appreciate like grappling and the sport of grappling. To me, it's hard to match the environment. Every year, I've been at Bloodsport, I want to say, and since Bloodsport 4 and 5 that were filmed without an audience because it was during COVID.
I remember.
Yeah, and even then there was a great environment, just the aura without even any fans in the building or anything. There's just something special about it. And everyone since then that we've actually had fans at, an audience from, I think the first one with an audience was 6 in Tampa at Mania Week, I guess 2022. And then everyone since then, whether it was in, there was the one in Texas, and then there was one in LA, obviously. It just has this aura. It's like Bloodsport is its own like little world, or little, there's something in the air, and there's something special about Bloodsport. So, like I said, if you're a fan of, be a fan of what you're a fan of, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, this is the best and this is the best. But to me, this is what I love in wrestling. This is what I love in grappling. This is what I gravitate towards. So if that's what you're into, then hey, Bloodsport's the place for you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's my favorite kind of wrestling. I mean, I love lucha as well. I'm a big lucha guy. People know that. I have my own mask. I have in my kitchen. There's a Republic of Lucha flag from the store. That's a Penta and Ray Phoenix's store. So like, I love lucha, but this to me is my favorite type of style, and it originates from the MMA and all the Japanese pro wrestling style. And you've spent a lot of time in Japan. Are you still with New Japan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still working with New Japan Strong and New Japan Proper heavily. So that's
Nice.
that's kind of the home base.
Strong has been, it's something that as an outsider, I know Rock and I know a bunch of folks, but as an outsider, as a fan, it's hard to like position it because it was a TV show, but then that got cut short. and now, but it's still around. So can you help me identify or like define what New Japan Strong is in comparison to the New Japan product?
Well, at this point, since they're not doing as much like the weekly kind of content, what Strong is, I guess, is like a series of pay-per-view events that they do via New Japan. I know that I believe I've heard rumors that Rocky wants to try to get it back to like a weekly TV show type of thing. I do know that they release the pay-per-views week by week still to try to keep a little bit of that format alive.
Mm.
And obviously, that would be great to get back to more often tapings and really like it does help with like storyline stuff and keeping people in the loop when there's a little more consistency as far as how often shows are happening. But as of right now, it is, I guess, like a pay-per-view event every month or two, or sometimes they'll have events that are like really close together. Like I think Texas and Vegas last year were like 2 weeks apart, but then we have a few months off and whatever, what have you. So I guess yeah, like a pay-per-view event every month or two is I guess how it is right now. But they've been put on some really big matches, and there's still plenty going on. And if you do follow along and care about storyline, there's plenty there too.
Hell yeah. Well, you mentioned storyline, and I was thinking about this during when we were talking about Bloodsport too. One of the appeals to me too is that Bloodsport doesn't really have storylines going into it. Obviously there's a build up and a little, some promoing that happens, of course, but you don't have to worry about knowing some kind of backlog history of like the story of what's going on. Like, no, it's just, hey, this dude's a badass, this dude's a badass, and they're gonna fucking go at it. Which is what appealed to me about UFC back in the day. Before the bigger characters started coming out in the UFC, it was mostly just like, oh shit, I know that dude's a badass, I know that guy's a badass. Let's see who wins. I think that's the purest form of it. And I know
Sure.
people will disagree. WWE is the hottest thing in the world right now. But tell me a little bit about that, because they're going to be watching. I think Josh has become the forbidden door.
Yeah. Josh has made himself into the forbidden door for sure. Getting Shayna Baszler on the show, obviously that was one of his main students
Right.
back in her MMA days. So there's a connection there. But I mean, I didn't expect that. That was a huge announcement. That was pretty crazy. I'm sure there'll be other people from WWE at the show watching and from
Mm-hmm.
near and afar and whatnot, and that's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, hell, we talked about him last time, but Nick Nemeth, FKA Dolph Ziggler, is on the show, and that's really exciting. Like, that's one of the guys that I really, enjoy his wrestling, and when I first broke into the business, I really looked up to and whatnot. So that's amazing to me to have him on a Bloodsport card. I think that's a huge step forward. I think obviously Shayna on the card is absolutely amazing. So this is the biggest Bloodsport there's been so far. And every time I think, man, what an amazing card. And then it always somehow Josh finds a way to top it. He just knows how to top. I mean,
Yeah.
Bloodsport Japan, you got Mike O'Hearn in Bloodsport, which is I was like, what is going on here? You have a former Olympic silver medalist in I'm gonna butcher the name, but David Montezfili from Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Josh just knows he has the
Rampage,
craziest
dude.
connections in the world. Rampage Jackson. Yeah, I didn't even mention Rampage fucking Jackson is on that. So yeah, no, it's gonna be Bloodsport is always a crazy, crazy event, and I agree with you. It's like there's a story, but not in the sense of like you stole my girlfriend, and now I'm
Right.
gonna. It's like more like they're telling the story in the ring. The violence in the ring tells the
Oh,
story,
yeah.
and I think it's like someone who, like you can be, like a fan of beer and you can drink beer and that's great, or you can really be someone that gets into like you taste. Oh, this is like a aged barrel smoke. This that whatever. Like
Oh,
where
you
you
mean
have
like
these.
me? You mean?
Yeah. Hey, it's a metaphor that you can
Yeah.
relate to. But
Yeah.
like I think that's what like Bloodsport is if you are really a fan of grappling and wrestling and you can look for the actual depth to things and not just have everything spoon fed to you. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Of course, there always has to be simple stuff that fans can just easily digest. But if you want to really analyze situations and grappling exchanges and strike exchanges and see how all that kind of stuff works, there is still that great element of story and what's going on. And sometimes a great story is who the fuck is more badass. And I think Bloodsport does a
Yeah.
great job of that. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, and you can, for one of the things that I've started doing when I started learning more about independent wrestling and getting into the scene and everything was the stories that you normally would get on TV are more, like you said, romanticized, like dramatic, whatever it may be. But at indie shows or watching New Japan or any of that, you become a fan of a person, a specific wrestler, and then their entire journey becomes the story. Everything that they've been through, their time in the, growing up and wrestling back in their backyards, to getting in the indies, to eventually signing in AEW or WWE or whatever. And it creates a story within a narrative within yourself that you end up feeling joy and happiness when these people move up in their career. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you don't know that, you may not know them personally, but the fact that you've been watching the growth and then watching the culmination of that, like, work ending up in like a big match, like what you got going on with Suzuki right now, like it's inspiring. It's motivational, really. Like, makes me want to, like, hey man, he fucking did it. I want to do it. Let's go. And I'm not doing Bloodsport, by the way. I'm not doing
no, I got you, brother.
that.
That is a really interesting way to think of it because I never really, I guess, dove really deep into that. But especially because, like you said, it's like when we're thinking about the indies, you know, most indies, there are some that run like a crazy amount of shows all the time. But for the most part, most shows run once a month maximum, maybe twice a month. And so you really, unless you're like invested in that show so much that you're at every single show or you watch every single live stream or you geek out for it absolutely. It's like the story is really the story of whatever wrestler you connect with that you love, that you follow their career and seeing their growth and seeing their character and seeing their experiences. That is the story for
Yeah.
indie wrestling versus over here, I'm feuding with the champion and I'm going to do this and that. It's like, yeah, that is happening for sure. And there can be subplots within stories and whatnot. But really, the story is I'm a huge fan of so and so. And I've seen them grow from this into this. And that's inspiring. And I really relate to this part of them and how they respond to adversity or whatever it is. Like, that is the story of indie wrestling. That was a really good point. I loved hearing that.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, and let's take it back a little bit. We were talking about Forbidden Door. Like, I want people to understand that this Bloodsport 10 has got signed active wrestlers from TNA, WWE, and AEW all together in one house, and other companies as well, New Japan, Legends. Like, it's just I can't sell it enough, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and that's another story in itself. The story of me watching Bloodsport grow into what it is now. Like, that makes me more invested. I want to be a part of it. Thankfully, I talked to Josh. He and I worked on the beer together. We're homies.
Yeah.
I hit him up and I'm like, dude, I want to be a bigger part of Bloodsport. I don't know how. My dream has always been, since high school, to go to Japan. I've never been. Big fan. I have, Japanese wrestling is my favorite style. I took 2 years of the language, so I understand Japanese when I hear it. I just can't speak it fluently or anything. But it would be my dream and absolute honor to go to Japan and be a part of Bloodsport Bushido, and it's fucking happening. So
That's sick.
we're going. Are you going to Bloodsport Bushido? Are you going to Japan for that?
I don't know. We'll see. I know I'm on the short list of people that might get the call, but I don't think anything's confirmed yet. So obviously, I hope so. That would be a huge honor. But I also know, I mean, you got Quentin Rampage Jackson and Mike O'Hearn and Minoru Suzuki on the card and all that. So I know it is going to be a crowded card and whatnot. So hopefully, and hey, hopefully, if I can pull off a big performance on the 4th, maybe that catapults me into that conversation more so.
I think so, because Suzuki is somehow, like, I know they did press conferences together. I think he's like co-heading this adventure in Japan with Josh.
I believe so, yes.
So you're gonna be face to face with the guy that could make that happen.
Yeah, imagine having a job interview and you have to beat the shit out of and get the shit beaten out of you by your interviewer in order to get the job. It's intense.
I kind of like that though.
It would be more simple. I would way
Am I
rather
broken?
that. Yeah, no, I would way rather that be job interviews than me have to answer some bullshit question about where I see myself in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. I've had some terrible interviews. I worked at Victoria's Secret once because things got really rough for a minute. But at the interview,
free product, brother.
Dude, I was just standing there in the corner, arms crossed, and there were like a bunch of ladies, you know, and they were asking these questions. It was a group interview, and she's asking like, "Oh, you know, why do you consider yourself a bombshell?" And like apparently that's a thing for Victoria's Secret. You're a bombshell. I don't know. And they were giving these elaborate answers, like ever since I was 5 years old, and blah blah blah. She finally gets to me. She's like, "So why do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Money. You give me money, I give you work." She was like, "Well, that's not." I'm like, "Look, the more money you give me, the harder I'm going to work." She was like, "That's not how that works, though." I'm like, "It's exactly how it works. Sorry." You don't want me, I'm gone.
Should have said you wanted to be a bombshell, honestly.
Dude, fuck. No, I got the job. I did it for like 6 months and then I quit and I was like, I can't do this. They had me like folding tiny panties with these gigantic sausage hands. Like,
yeah. No, I get it, man. I got big hands. I get it.
Dude. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about. Do you have aspirations to potentially maybe someday go to a particular company? And if so, who? I know you probably can't like say too much because you are still with New Japan, but you know, that's just the nature of the business. People do time here and then they go do time there. So where would you like to go out of the big camps that are in your future?
I mean, honestly, to me, I've always loved New Japan, and that's always been the goal. I just need something that's like a little more solid in terms of like, I need like a contract somewhere. I need a guarantee. Other than that, I'm not particular. It's going to be a matter of who has an offer for me and who wants to give me money first, because I'm getting to the point where I would like more security. Not just I can pay my bills, but like, hey, if you get injured, you're going to get this still, and we'll take care of you in this way and that way. And like, it does make a difference to me. And like I want to be able to provide, in terms of like, I want to get a place with a yard because I have a dog, and I take him out for walks every day, like for like an hour and a half. He's a little Pomeranian. It's crazy, but I take him out for like an hour at least every day walking. But I know he'd be happier with his yard. I know my girlfriend would be happier if we had a bigger place and we had more stuff and we were able to, you know, like, I guess more than just pay bills, but able to save up and breathe a little bit. So to me, like, I see there's positive aspects of every single company. You know, it's like WWE, that's the granddaddy of them all. That's the biggest company in the world. Everyone views it as the top company. They take care of their employees really well. I think, you know, you look at AEW, they obviously have a lot of great benefits, really hot, crazy how much progress they've made in such a short time. It seems like a really good work environment. You look at TNA and what they're doing. They have a really hot roster. They have one of the hardest working rosters, some incredible talent. And obviously New Japan is also a great possibility because I love being in Japan. I love working for New Japan. I've always looked up to New Japan and their style, and I would love to continue to be involved with them. So I'm not too particular. I just need someone to cut a check. That's my deal. So my whole thing is I'm just going to keep working my ass off, having the best matches humanly possible, being as much of a professional as I possibly can, and you know, keep reaching out, keep working hard, and hopefully someone you know, recognizes that. And you know, that's I guess the next goal is just getting settled down somewhere. And I don't know, I'd like to be loyal to somewhere, you know, long term. Like that's kind of the name of the game, is security. And you know, what I promise in return is the more money you pay me, the harder I work, in the words of the famous Eddie Torres.
Hey, that was a really good answer, by the way. That was good. Keep that one logged. Very, 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 very good answer. No, but it's, you know, it's a time. Probably the best time in wrestling history, I would say. Aside from like we have a layer of nostalgia that goes back into like the Attitude Era time that people always bring up. That I think it was great, but honestly, I do think we also look at it with nostalgia glasses. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
think right now, as a whole, pro wrestling is bigger than ever. Between what's going on with WWE and AEW and New Japan and these crossover events and the whole thing with TNA, and like I got really excited about TNA, and then the whole Scott leaving thing kind of like put everything on hold. Like, oh shit, what's happening? But it's still going. They're still putting on great shows. They have a tremendous roster, like you said. But I guess it all depends on the type of wrestler you want to be, because there's nothing wrong with being, say, like an AEW lifer or a WWE lifer. It's just depending on who you want to be. If you go to WWE, it's going to be more story based, more dramatic. There's going to be more entertainment elements to it, even though it's slightly changing. It's still a lot of entertainment, whereas an AEW or New Japan is more about the sporty aspect of it, the athleticism, the competition. There is stories. I'm not saying there isn't in AEW, but it's more about like what we were talking about before, following the wrestler's journey, like following Brian Danielson. I forget Brian Danielson's entire career, the American Dragon, and how he couldn't wrestle because he had an injury and now he can, and that's awesome as well. He's going to retire a legend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It depends. Do you like acting? Is that something you want to do more of?
You know, I've kind of tried to stay away from like I'll take gigs if they're like thrown my way or whatever. Like I definitely don't turn down money, but I guess I've tried not to lean too heavily into acting because I know a lot of people move to LA. They act a few times. They were like, "Oh, this pays a lot better, and I don't have to hurt my body." And then before you know it, they're an actor with like a lowercase pro wrestler. Whereas like pro wrestling is the thing that I fell in love with. Pro wrestling is the thing I want to do. I also think like acting is a weird world. There's a lot of like people that I just see that I'm like, you're a great actor, but you are out of touch with what reality is like. And so I don't know. It's like I don't know. I'll take gigs as they come, and if they're offered or whatever. I've done a little bit of like more like voice acting and stuff like that. I think that's more. Like it's easier as far as I don't have to get as involved in that life and that world. I can just clock in, make noises into a microphone for a little bit and clock out, and I enjoy that. I'd like to do more of that for sure in the future. But
What
yeah, I'm
was
not
it?
turning
Was it
down
for
any
like
gigs.
a? Was it a video game? Like what were you making sounds for? Yeah.
Yeah, 2K.
Oh, okay.
2K. I've done some motion capture and I've done some voice acting for them.
Nice, nice. Okay.
So yeah, yeah. But no, I don't know. I'm not against the idea of acting. It's just not really something that like I actively pursue. I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah, you have to be kind of
I think I'm
driven.
decent at it. I think I'm decent at it. I can. But I feel like that's everyone that doesn't act. They're like, I could be like an actor. So I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional.
No, no, no. I mean, it is. It does. It. If you're having an inclination towards acting, then you have enough understanding of what it is to where you'll feel a little bit of that confidence, where you can be like, I could probably do it. I've been in a couple movies, but not like, I did like background shit. I did. It was all stuff in Miami. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh hell yeah.
I did Bad Boys 2 and fuck. Oh, the Miami Vice, the remake with Jamie Foxx.
That's kind of a sick like resume, to be honest. Like those are like three cool movies to be in, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, in Fast and Furious, I was literally just one of the dudes standing in the pile of people while the cars were just hanging out in the street. And then Bad Boys 2, I was dancing in a club. And then in Miami Vice was
Yeah.
the biggest role I got. I got to sit next to Jamie Foxx in a cafe, and the fucking shoot was stupid. We went in at like noon, and we went till 7 in the morning the next day. And they had to take a break to tarp the cafe because the sun was coming up, and it was a nighttime scene. I'm like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. But I got to sit next to him while he was doing his lines, and then at one point it was like 4 in the morning, and I was falling asleep, apparently, like just nodding off.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx started clapping next to me and singing Guantanamera. Guantanamera. I'm like, What are you doing? He's like, I gotta wake you up, brother. We're all getting paid to be here. I'm like, oh yeah. And then the whole cafe just started singing the song together to just wake everybody up because yeah, it was fucking 4 a.m. What are we doing here? Guess what? They didn't even fucking put that scene in the movie.
Oh fuck! I have to rewatch that to catch that. That wasn't even the movie. Damn.
Dude, it wasn't even
All
in the
that.
deleted scenes. I got so mad. I'm like, well, I got paid at least. That's what matters. But
That is what matters.
buddy.
Yeah, I've done parts of skits for the last 2 seasons of I Think You Should Leave, and both
Hmm.
times they've gotten cut. Including one time I got Brody King hit me in the freaking back with a chair, and it hit me right in like the top of my hip bone that like swelled up for like months, made it miserable to wrestle and bump, and then they cut my part. I was like, damn, ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, man. It's not as glamorous as it seems, folks. I mean, unless you're like one of these younger, like good-looking people that they're just dead inside and they're just put them in all the movies. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Like
Yeah.
the dude from June, that Timothy, he
I
did
was gonna
Wonka.
say Timothée Chalamet. Yes.
Good-looking young
Yes.
people that are
Bless
just
him.
dead inside. That's all.
Bless him. Bless him and his dead blue eyes. Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous man. So, all right. You showed up. There was a time you were showing up in AEW. I know that. I saw you on TV, and I was like, "Hey, look, I know." So, how was that experience for you? How do you feel like? How was the vibe in the back? Everybody was like, because it was you were representing New Japan, right? So it was
Yeah.
kind of like an invasion angle. Was there any like bullshit, or was it good?
No, it was cool. Everyone, like, the thing is, like, pretty much everyone from either the Indies or like a lot of people that are signed there were signed over from New Japan or whatever. So I think it's, the vibes is always good and inviting. I mean, CM Punk gave all the New Japan guys Starbucks gift cards, so he was cool to us. You know what I mean? Like,
Ah,
but hey, I mean, but like Jungle Boy's my guy, so you know where I side on that.
yeah, he's
And
doing
Jungle Boy's
good
never
over
given
there.
me he's never given me a Starbucks gift card, so I'm saying I'm siding with CM Punk over him. No, no, no.
Get it together, Jack.
Jungle Boy's my guy. No, no. Honestly, the vibes were cool. I wish, you know, it's unfortunate that Adam Cole got sick and Tom didn't get his match, and that never got revisited. But
Oh
it
yeah,
is
dude.
pro wrestling, so never know what might happen in the future and whatnot. Even if Tom's being a kind of a punk bitch right now, I still hope that he gets his just due and gets his match that he deserves someday. And yeah, I would love to do more work with AEW. They've always taken A1 care of me every time I've been there, even back to the pandemic days when me and Jarrell were just coming in as extras and whatnot. Like, it's a top notch place for sure.
Now I don't want to get you any heat, so you don't have to answer. But it just as a
Okay.
question that I have on the outside is, I feel like if it were me, I would feel a little bothered by AEW taking all of our good guys.
Mm.
Is there any heat out there for that? Like, because it's some of their biggest signings lately have all been from New Japan, and you have this working relationship with Forbidden Door and everything, but I would still be rubbed a little raw that we have this relationship, and then you're taking my things.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I don't know. Like, I'm not part of the office, obviously, so I can't
Right.
really answer for any of them or know how that goes. But like, to me, it's like, as a New Japan wrestler, we all just have to step up and do our part. And it's like, the life goes on, and it's the next man in, and everyone just has to, like, it's like this is a natural part of life. Whether it was getting signed away somewhere, or someone gets injured, or someone retires, or whatever else the deal is, you just have to next man in, next man up. Everyone does their part, and if anything, that creates more opportunities for people that are lower on the card to move on up and do their thing. And maybe there are some talented people that haven't gotten seen before. So it is what it is. Like, that's a part of wrestling, that no matter where you're at, there's going to be people that are going to get fired or released or retire or whatever the deal is. And obviously it's sad when someone that's been a big part of the company anywhere, or is like part of the brand, like, you think of them when you think of the brand, like, that is always tough. But at the same time, that's the name of the game. That's what wrestling is. That's what wrestling's been for me for the last 10 years. So, you know, I don't really worry about that too much. I worry about the things that I can control, and if there's new opportunities that pop up because of that, then that's more power to me, I guess.
Hell yeah. That kind of thing happened at the Comedy Store, man. Like when the whole thing, the big move happened to Austin, Texas. You know, it was a lot of like, oh, you need to go to Texas. Everybody's going, and there was a lot of people that got convinced to go to Texas that maybe shouldn't have gone to Texas because
Sure. Yeah.
now they're struggling out there. But that a lot of people, I kept telling people like, don't go, let them go. Let them go, and that's just going to open up opportunities. Now there's going to be spots open at the Comedy Store for you to go up and do comedy. Because before, the Comedy Store was booming because every night it was Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura. All these people were going up, but that also meant the card was fucking stacked every night. There was no space for you.
Yeah.
And you get forgotten, you know? So, like, now all those people that left, I'm like, the ones that stayed behind, I'm like, you did good. Just now go up. Now get to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a similar, it's a similar thing over there, I guess.
I mean, pro wrestling and stand up comedy are very similar, other than the physicality. But a lot of the stuff that we do and a lot of the business that we deal with is the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, physicality depending on what side of the stage you're on. No, I'm just kidding. So, okay, is there anybody that you have that's active right now that you have in your scope aside from Suzuki? Obviously, you got to keep your mind focused on your next opponent. But is there like an opponent that you've never faced that you are still wanting to?
Yeah, there's two that come to mind. One, I guess this is my yearly call out of Nick Nemeth. I really want that match. That's an all-time dream match. Whether that happens Bloodsport or elsewhere, that's a guy that I would really like to wrestle. And then my other match would be Katsuyori Shibata. That's someone that,
Ooh.
you know, like what's crazy is like a couple of years ago, I would have thought that neither of those matches would ever happen. And we live in a brave new world where both of those are at least a possibility. So, you know, I know both are in high demand and everyone wants to wrestle those guys. But for me, those would be two matches that I would really love to test my mettle against those two.
I'm going to use the force. I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Royce Isaacs.
Old head guys.
Yes, I'm going to use the. Hold on, let me take the hat off. Royce Isaacs versus Nick Nemeth in Tokyo. I'm just going to put that into the world. See what happens.
Oh boy, that would be hot fire.
I'm saying I'd pay money. I'm gonna be there and I'd still pay money. I'll buy the fucking shirt. I don't care. I want to support that.
Let's go.
But yeah, that would be great. That would be amazing. And Shibata, dude, Shibata's been putting on some bangers lately too. He did what was that? Osprey and Danielson, and was it Danielson? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know. I, as a fan of wrestling, as a fan of that style of wrestling, I'm eating good, as they say on the internet. I'm
Yes, sir.
I'm very happy with the where everything is, even with WWE stuff. You know, it may not be my favorite style, but they're on fire too. And so I'm seeing The Rock cursing up a storm on Instagram. It's hilarious. I can't help myself. I'm like, that guy was going to run for president. And I said, "Oh, fuck you!" Like, "Oh shit! Yeah. All right." No, that's never happening unless we go full idiocracy. I don't see Dwayne Johnson as
we
president.
get closer to idiocracy every day, so
It's
never say
wild,
never, right?
Dude. It's so wild. Anyway, I don't want to get political.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so. What else do you have coming up? Because there's Bloodsport in a week, but I know you have some other matches booked.
Yeah.
Rev Pro, right?
I don't know. Rev Pro just actually happened.
Shit. Okay, I see it on your Instagram.
No, you're good, brother. So I guess the thing that's coming up, it's not coming up till the end of May, but I do want to talk about is I'm running a show in Denver together with Lucha Libre and Laughs. For my 10-year wrestling anniversary.
Nice. Congrats.
I just, yeah, thank you. I just thought, like, in Mexico and Japan and stuff like that, it's very normalized to have like an anniversary show. And I thought it would be cool to put together like just a banger ass card of stuff that I think is cool that I think people will like. Can't make any big announcements yet, but we're gonna have some really cool surprises. Lucha Libre and Laughs is a top-notch organization. They sold out every show they did last year. They get like 600 people every time in Denver. Um, Absolutely crazy environment, and we're gonna have it streamed somewhere probably like a week or so later. Like not it's an old ass building, so not live streamed, but it'll get edited and then maybe like a week later. I'm like 90% sure of where that's gonna stream on, but I can't make an announcement until it's 100%. And I
Yeah.
can't make any announcements on any crazy talent other than obviously I will be there. But there will be some like really top notch indie talent and some amazing matches. Like I think every match top to bottom is going to be fucking sick. So if you like Royce Isaacs and if you like good indie wrestling, definitely be on the lookout for that. If you're in the Denver area, end of May, and if you're not in the Denver area, it should be like the beginning of June. But obviously, that'll be all over my socials and stuff once things get a little more solidified and whatnot. But yeah, that's celebrating 10 years of Royce Isaacs, celebrating indie wrestling a little bit, and put on some cool shit. So
Hell yeah. I have friends in Denver. Shout out to Helgramites out there, and their drummer was my old drummer in my band for years, 10 years. So I'll make sure they take their entire crew out there to support. But I am curious, Lucha Libre and Laughs, are you having comedians?
yeah, they have comedians on every show. It's like honestly one of the sickest date nights you can ever go to because you'll have like a couple wrestling matches, you'll have a comedian, and then you'll have a couple more wrestling matches, then you'll have another comedian. They've had some pretty big name like high ranking comedians there before and stuff like that. So it's like such a good variety show. Even people who like maybe they aren't really traditional wrestling fans, you'll just see like couples out on their date night having a fucking blast, losing their minds, laughing their asses off, getting into the wrestling, and then we end up having a lot of people that they're like, oh, I didn't even like wrestling, and I started coming to this, and now I love wrestling. Now I follow this, that, whatever, and then they'll go. They also get some like really like serious indie wrestling fans. Like I think one of the like when we brought Suzuki in, that was one of the like biggest matches in terms of like no one in Denver was doing anything like that, and so I got to wrestle him. But there was like a sea of all these like Bullet Club shirts and all this stuff that you don't usually see at their shows because it was like this is for like the wrestling fans and the purists and whatnot. So Lucha Libre Labs is really cool. They've been running for like 11 years now. I went to one of their first shows just as a fan, a kid in the crowd, and I was like, I need to get involved in wrestling. Like, how do I do this? So I talked to the promoter right after the show, and he kind of guided me as far as where I should go to train and whatnot. So I started training the next week. So I've had a very close relationship with them literally since the start of my career. It was one of the first places I ever wrestled, and they're a reason why I even was able to start training and get into the business. So to be able to run an event with alongside them and have their support and everything, and to do it in my hometown of Denver is really really cool. So shout out to Lucha Libre Laughs.
Hell yeah, brother. That sounds amazing. I want to go to that. Hey, if there's like 3 minutes on the card that I can like, squeeze open up the show, let me know. I'll do 3 minutes anywhere. I'm actually I'm gonna do a set in Japan. I called
Oh hell yeah.
I hit up the Tokyo Comedy Club out there, and they booked me for a set while I'm out there. Like, hey, gotta work, man. I want a vacation, but I also just want to work.
Yeah, man. I feel like stand-up comedy is really popular in Japan. Like, there's a
Mhm.
lot of spots for comedians. Like, comedians are on TV all the time. Like, it's like a big thing over there.
Yeah, yeah. There's a big. They call it Western comedy because it's all in English. There's a big crowd for
Mm.
that over there. So that's awesome. I'm excited to see what that's gonna be like. Hitting it's I don't know. I've never even been in the country, and I'm gonna go do stand up. That's wild.
That's great, man. That's what it's about.
So Lucha Libre and Last, that's at the end of May. Denver
Yep.
folks, please head out there. What? Anything else? Would you want to plug anything else? Any other shows? Any other big things?
Oh yeah, obviously, New Japan, Windy City Riot,
Mm.
on the 12th of April is coming up. That's a big one for me. And on the 14th, Deadlock Pro, No Pressure in Raleigh, North Carolina. So that's going to be a really big weekend for me. I'm very excited for that. New Japan obviously is my shit. That's New Japan, and Deadlock has been, I mean, they've just been a top notch indie, just taking really really good care of me, and I really like what they got going on there. So I'm excited for that.
Hell yeah. Now, who are you facing at Windy City?
Um, you'll see. It'll be
Oh, has it been announced?
it'll probably be announced by the time this drops,
Okay.
assuming this drops after the weekend. But if not, it'll be. I don't want to spoil it by accident. But yeah, you'll see.
All right. I mean, I could drop this Monday, but yeah. All right. So Windy City. Did you say Dead Pro? What was the name?
Deadlock Pro.
Deadlock Pro. Deadlock Pro. I hadn't heard of them. I'm gonna look into.
They're really good. They're based out of North Carolina, but they do stuff all over. Like we just did a show in Berwyn, Illinois for them. I know they were just in Texas a few weeks ago and whatnot. They are doing big things. Like they have their own. I think they started from like a podcast that these guys were doing, the Deadlock Pro Wrestling podcast, and they've turned it into. I mean, it's one of the best indies in the United States of America. Like, and they not just like for the fans. Like, of course, for the fans, they sell out all their arenas. They always have a great vibe. Everyone's having a good time. But like, the accommodations are always top notch. They're always putting us in like really nice hotels that have all these like services. It just like it's so nice when as a wrestler, you don't just have to like stay at the like sleazy motel where you're like you feel like Nacho in the last season of Better Call Saul, peeking out your window, wondering if someone's going to shoot you or whatever. Like they really take good care of you there. They're easy to communicate and deal with. They're a top notch indie. So I really shouts out to Deadlock Pro. If anyone else has not checked them out there, I super recommend giving them a shot because you like independent wrestling, you will like Deadlock Pro.
Hell yeah. I'm going to check them out after we wrap up here. Hell yeah. All right, everybody that's watching and listening, please follow Royce at Royce Isaacs. That's with 2 A's, ISAACS. On Instagram. Is that the same for Twitter or X or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to transition over to X. I think it's just everybody's always going to say Twitter. There's just no.
Yes. Like Twitter. Doing? I mean X. I mean Twitter. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what are we doing? But yeah, please follow Royce. Support. Buy merch. Where do you have merch? Is it all in the Tocon Global or do you have?
Yeah, we have stuff on the Tocon, but I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees. Pro Wrestling Tees / Royce Isaacs, and then also if you come out to a show live and in person. I'll always have that with me. And if I don't have any shows around you and you want to buy either like a West Coast Wrecking Crew shirt, we got these cute little shirts with the illustration by a Japanese artist, or if you want a signed picture, or I have like this book that this guy did illustrations for that like me, Filthy Tom, Brian Keith, and a few Joshi, all like basically like transcribed like a road diary type of thing. And then he illustrated. If you want any of that kind of stuff, DM me, hit me up. I can ship it out, no problem. Send pictures or whatever. So holler at me.
Hell yeah. Hit him up. Get some stuff. Support. This is where it all starts. Don't tell me that later on in like 10 years, like, oh my God, you see this dude Royce? Like, yeah, I have been. I have been seeing this dude Royce for years. So please support, please watch. And dude, I can't wait for your match with Suzuki at Bloodsport. I'm bummed out that I won't be in Philly, but I'll be watching at home for sure.
I appreciate it, brother. I'm excited too, man. And Gimlet is very excited as well.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you for doing this. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate it.
Peace. Yeah.